Another day, another epic run chase culminating in a fantastic super over. Welcome to today's episode of End of Days Play. We are going to take a look at the game between the Royal Challengers Bangalore and Mumbai Indians, and also have a quick sneak peek at tomorrow's game between the Delhi Capitals and the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Nags, it was another fantastic game to watch today as a viewer. Give us a quick summary of what happened today.
Okay, so we are all probably taking our time to gather our breath back. It has been a breathtaking day of cricket. So it was Mumbai Indians winning the toss and going as per the template, inviting Royal Challengers Bangalore to have a bat first. RCB got off to a very good start. They had a very promising power play score of 59 for no loss. And then they kept going for another over or two before Aaron Finch lost his wicket after a well-made 50. And then Mumbai Indians very skillfully clawed the things back for the next 5 or so overs, in which Kohli also lost his wicket cheaply yet again. But then AB de Villiers, in the company of the opener Devdutt Padikkal, stabilized the innings, and Padikkal also registered another 50. And then de Villiers, in the company of Dubey, flourished in the end to take the score just a bit over 200. And they finished with 201 for the loss of 3 wickets in their 20 overs. It was a good bowling performance by Mumbai in patches. So Trent Bolt got 2 wickets, and then Rahul Chahar, after going for a very expensive first over, pulled things back very admirably, finishing with 1 for 31. In reply, Mumbai got off to a horrible start, losing their captain Rohit Sharma cheaply. And also, RCB kept the check on the scoring rate and chipped away with very important wickets in the middle order. It was the middle order partnership between Kishan and Pollard and Ishan Kishan, who came in as a replacement for injured Saurabh Tiwari, which actually brought them back into the game. And at one stage, Mumbai Indians looked all gone for all money when they needed 90 in the last 5 overs. And would you believe it? They actually ended up scoring 89 of them, and the match eventually ended up in a tie. And it was the brilliant super over from both sides, and it was RCB that came out on top when Kohli hit the winning runs against Bumrah. So it was a seesawing battle that eventually RCB somehow sealed it.
Phew, that's a lot of things to discuss today. So without further ado, let's head into our key talking points. What do we have at number 5 today, Nax?
Number 5, when the games are such high scoring, it is important that the fielders step up to the party. And the outfielding here, specifically catching, was quite impressive from Royal Challengers Bangalore. The substitute fielder, Pawan Negi, took some skiers and looked very composed under them. So the wickets of Rohit Sharma and Hardik Pandya were very high hikes, and that were taken comfortably by Pawan Negi. And in fact, even in the super over, Gurkeerat Maan ended up taking a very important catch under pressure of Kishan and Pollard. So it was a very good effort in the field in terms of catching, with the odd blip being again the drop by Pawan Negi of Kishan and Pollard when the match was in a very tensed situation. But overall, it was cool catching under pressure by RCB.
I agree, and I think except for that one drop that you mentioned, it was excellent catching all around. At number 4, we're going to be talking about the struggles of 2 Indian superstars in the tournament so far, Virat Kohli and Jasprit Bumrah. It's interesting to watch the two of them sort of struggle to get their rhythm in the tournament so far. Virat has had 3 unsuccessful batting innings in the tournament. Bumrah has had 1 good game in the previous game where he, against the Kolkata Knight Riders, where he was instrumental in Mumbai winning that game. But apart from that, in the first game as well as today in the main part of the game, he was really struggling to find his rhythm with his line and length. Kohli as well, I think he's been struggling against leg spinners for some time, and again today got out to Rahul Chahar, who came back, as you mentioned, quite beautifully and curtailed the run rate for the Bangalore side. So I think it's been something of an odd issue that's been plaguing both Bumrah and Kohli ever since the tour of New Zealand from earlier this year. And we're hoping, here's hoping that they sort of come back pretty quickly and find the rhythm and put their stamp on this year's tournament.
I totally agree. And it's been a forgettable 2020 for the two of them so far. And we can safely say that it has nothing to do with the lockdown and the lack of cricket in this period in general. Their struggles extend back to the beginning of the year when they toured New Zealand.
At number 3, what are we looking at?
At number 3, we are looking at a strange batting performance by RCB. They had a promising start and a very strong launch pad to go big. So, and then they were admirably clawed back by Mumbai Indians. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they had a second wing and they scored big in their final 5 overs. So it was essentially an innings that could be broken into 3 parts: a good start, and then a slow down, a trough, and then again peaking at the end. So RCB had 3 half centurions. So it actually was a decent batting outing, and also a good finish by Shivam Dubey, who finished strong in the end. But it was again the failure of Kohli that you mentioned that would probably bother them going into deeper into the tournament. So they would like to correct that, and they would like to ensure that the tempo that they set right at the beginning is there to be capitalized upon.
I think one thing that's working for RCB so far in the tournament is the purchase of Aaron Finch and the form that he's shown. I think he's been a shrewd buy. He's alleviating a lot of the pressure that's historically been placed on Kohli and ABD in that Bangalore batting lineup. So with both Finch and Padikkal giving sound opening starts, I think it should augur well for the Bangalore batting in the games to come. And hopefully, Kohli also finds some form to give more spine to that team. At number 2, we are going to be talking about the partnership which brought Mumbai back into the game, the partnership between Kohli and Pollard and Ishan Kishan. As you mentioned earlier, Washington Sundar and the rest of the Bangalore bowlers, were bowling good lines. Sundar was fantastic in his opening spell. And at a time when, again, everyone was wondering, is that the game done and dusted? Mumbai Indians drew inspiration from Rajasthan Royals yesterday, kept their cool, and then went about, absolutely, plundering the RCB bowlers later on in their innings, and almost getting the 90 runs that they required to win the game. And again, it was just monstrous hitting. On the one hand, you had Ishan Kishan putting all his might to try and get the ball over the boundary. And at the other end, you had Kohli and Pollard just, muscling the ball with ease over the boundary, and in some cases to the top tier of the ground. So it was fantastic hitting, made for great viewing.
It was not the Sharjah outfield. It was the Dubai Stadium, so a larger playing field. So none of the sixes were just tipped over the boundary. They were monstrous hits. And they backed. At no stage did they panic. At no stage they felt they were out of the game. The mindset these days going around in T20 chases is something that we could not have imagined a few years ago.
And what do we have at number 1?
Yes, for a game that had everything in it, and the two teams tying the score, it required special effort in the super overs from respective sides, and that's what we got to see. So Navdeep Saini came about and bowled a top-notch super over as good as it can get, and conceded just 7 runs when bowling to the likes of Kohli and Pollard, who was in hot hitting form, and Hardik Pandya. And in the process also got Pollard out the first time in the game, actually. So 7 runs was going to be very difficult to defend. And then in Mumbai's side, you always had Bumrah. So nothing is impossible when Bumrah has ball in his hands. But who was he bowling to? He was bowling to AB de Villiers and Virat Kohli. So the spectacle could not have got any more grand. It made for great viewing. Some great Yorkers were bowled. It made you wonder, why can't those Yorkers be bowled in the main game? And 2 of the Indian star bowlers showed the mettle that they have, and pinpoint accuracy. And it was a pleasure watching that super over.
The balance between bat and ball that I've been clamoring for, all these games, we finally got that. If only for the super over, but it was really pleasing to see the bowlers being on the money and the batsmen having to really work for their runs, but still finding a way to score. Excellent. Moving on. What do we have in terms of the fun fact of the day?
Fun fact, interesting. All the bowlers are trying new ways of deceiving the batsman. And today it was the left arm orthodox or darts of Krunal Pandya, who tried bowling something like what Kedar Jadhav does, with a very low arm and a very flat trajectory. So it was, as I read on Cricinfo, actually, it was Kedar Krunal Malinga. So it was a very interesting tactic, and I'm surprised he did not try it more often.
We'll also take a quick look at the key moment of the day from today's play. And I think the 17th over of the Mumbai innings, when Adam Zampa was bowling to Kohli and Pollard, turned out to be the game changer. Zampa got hit for a six. Then off the very next ball, Pollard tried to hit another six. He was dropped on the boundary by Pawan Negi and then went on to hit a couple more sixes. And Zampa ended up conceding 27 runs, which firmly put Mumbai back in the chase. And I think that was probably the key moment of the day. And in a game littered with sparkling performances, who are you going to select as your player of the day?
I'll go with Ishan Kishan, playing his first game, coming in for injured Saurabh Tiwari, and pretty much an unknown entity for the opposition, and ends up nearly scoring a ton and nearly winning the game for Mumbai. So how composed he was through the chase, and the hits that the sixes that he hit were monstrous. Whether it was they were spinners or pace bowlers, he hit them all out of the park. Very composed 99, nearly a match-winning innings. So Ishan Kishan for me.
My pick was Washington Sundar in a game where every other bowler went upwards of 8-10 runs and over. To finish with figures of 4 overs, 1 for 12, it is astounding, especially considering that he's bowled 3 of those overs in the power play. So Washington Sundar is the man of the match for me. So it ends up we both disagree with who the panel selected in AP de Villiers today. So looking at tomorrow's game is between the Delhi Capitals and the Sunrisers Hyderabad at Abu Dhabi. What's your pick, Nugs?
It will be Delhi Capitals. Sunrisers Hyderabad are struggling with their team composition. Unless they rectify it and they rectify it fast, I think it's going to be a downhill slide for them. So I'm hoping for Sunrisers to come back stronger, but it's going to be Delhi Capitals who are currently looking at the top of their game.
Yeah, for the sake of the tournament, I'm going to go for Sunrisers. Here's hoping they can eke out a win. Hopefully, Bairstow and Warner, put on a show tomorrow. Well, that's a wrap on today's episode. As always, thank you for watching. If you like this episode, please like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel to keep more videos coming your way. And do let us know your comments. Have a wonderful day ahead. See you again tomorrow.